So here it is, guys, the living room. Most likely the heart of your house. It's where you host guests, you chill with your significant other, and unwind after long days of hard work.
In this video, we will go through an extensive makeover and everything we added.
So without further ado, come with us on this journey as we remake our living room.
So this is how our living room looked before this makeover. We had the essentials: a couch, a TV, a table, but we weren't really able to finesse and design the space how we wanted. Since the living room is where you host and where you and your guests will usually spend the majority of their time, we finally decided to put some effort and money into the space so it ties in with the overall design of our house. Now, we decided to go with the hanging besta console units. They are a relatively cheap solution from Ikea and they match our front entrance. We're able to change the front cupboard, which gives us a lot of opportunity to redo them if we decide to in the future. So before you begin hanging the besta units, you will want to be aware of a couple things. One is that they do not provide the screws if you want to wall mount them. You will have to buy your own screws. And two, the suspension rails do not come with the besta consoles. You will have to see which suspension rails match which type of besta unit you have. These holes I'm drilling allow me to hide wires from various smart devices I mount on top of the besta units. So you are going to want to find the studs on the wall that you are hanging the console on. With the sizing of the besta consoles, I was able to fit it on 3 studs. Now I just used this stud finder I got off Amazon. I like this one because it actually shows the width of the stud, so I can mark the start and end points of the studs, and also it can detect cables behind the walls. So once you found your studs, you will want to find the positioning of the besta consoles. You can do it one of 2 ways. The first way, which requires 2 people, is have one person hold it in position and make sure it's level, and the other person trace the top of the edge with a pencil or marker. Or you could just mark from the baseboard to where you want the top of the besta console to lay with a tape measure.
The suspension rail comes separately and you will have to buy it if you want to hang the console units up on the wall. When installing this, you will want to flip the suspension rails upside down and line it up with the mark you just made when finding your position. This is because the top of the suspension rail sits on behind the besta console. It's merely there to take into account the top portion of the besta console. So now that you have your suspension rail flipped upside down and aligned with the outline of the mark you made on the top, in the small holes on the bottom, you will want to mark 8 X's. I mentioned before we had located 3 studs that would fit within the width of the besta console. You will want to install it with at least 2 of the nails going through studs, just so it can handle the weight of the whole besta console. The other screws will just go into drywall. So you will have to screw in at least 8 screws, and preferably 3 of those screws will make contact with a wood stud. I would suggest starting at each end of the suspension rail and then making sure it's level before you screw in the rest of the screws.
So the besta console just lays their metal brackets here, and that's why you had to mark the suspension rails upside down, because the top portion of the cabinet is taken into account. Now I forgot to get some footage of us mounting the Ikea besta units onto the suspension rails in the living room, but it works pretty much the same as when I did it for the front entrance. Here's some footage from that mounting process. To make it flush, you will have to drill the cabinets into the suspension rails with these screws that do come with the besta console. For the front cupboards, we decided to go with the same thing we have on our front entrance, a dark oak and soft close hinges. Installing it is easy enough. You just want to install the bumper on the inside of the cabinets and the hinges on the front cupboards. All of the necessary hardwares and screws are included, so you will not have to buy any extra screws. The cabinets are very practical as they are deep enough to store a substantial amount, but they are also deep enough to store smart devices on top. So we have a Nest camera and a couple of smart hubs on here. With the holes I drilled earlier, I am able to hide and route the cables from all of the smart devices so it appears clean on top and there are no exposed wires. Just like the besta console units, you will want these shelves to make it contact with at least 2 studs. Then it's just a matter of finding the position of the shelves. We decided to go with a staggered look, so one is closer to the fireplace feature. I would start by drilling one screw into the center and hopefully on a stud. Then I would check to see if the shelf is leveled. Then I would install the rest of the screws into the left and right sides. Insert the shelves into the holes in the back and secure them with the small screws they provide. I lit the whole room with smart bulbs and light strips. They are all Govee. I installed these light strips under the hung cabinets just to really accentuate the floating illusion of the units. I routed the lighting through the holes I cut earlier before hanging the besta consoles. The 3M adhesive on the back of the strips are quite durable. All of the Govee lights I've had in the past are still sticking even though I've repositioned some of the strips several times. I had to route these strips twice around the bottom. Looking back, I would probably get a shorter length if you were looking to mimic this setup. I got the 16 foot. It can be controlled through your phone or through various Google hubs we have throughout the house. It's all linked into the Google ecosystem, so I can give it a command like, and this will turn on the TV, floor lamps, and besta lights, which makes transitioning into a calm, relaxing state after work all that much easier. I had a light strip for the old TV, but we moved that into the master bedroom, so there are no TV lights on the C2 as of yet, but I think if I were to get TV lights, I would spring for the Hue TV lights, as I've never had a problem with any Hue lights I've bought. With the Govee lights, there will be occasional disconnections, and I would either have to update the light from the Govee app or delete the light and re-add it altogether. We also decided we were due for a next-gen upgrade with the LG C2. We picked this up on a Boxing Day sale, and this really is the centerpiece of the whole living room. We both brought our TVs when we moved into the house, but we were a few generations behind in terms of displays. Heck, we were still on UHD. With the jump to OLED, it really blew us away and changed the way we consume content. Now, I would suggest that you unbox and transport this TV with at least one or more person, as you don't want to chance any accidents, as it is a pretty big and thin screen. I was able to use the existing wall mount because I had bought a wall mount that was rated for 85-inch televisions, so it could handle the 65-inch screen. I had bought 2 of these brackets and I put one in our master bedroom. That's where our old TV will go, and the new one will go on the existing wall mount. I installed the brackets while the TV was still in the box, as it is upright to begin with, and already it's in an optimal position to install them. I wouldn't really recommend taking the TV out of the box and laying it on its front. Again, when mounting the TV onto the wall mount, I would suggest having another person, unless you have the wingspan and height of a basketball player.
Keep going.
Yep.
You want to go slower?
From gaming to media, the picture quality is astounding. The HDR and amazing blacks really flesh out the little minute details. And if the content allows for it, it will switch to Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. Sound and picture quality that really takes advantage of the deep, rich colors this TV is able to output. The 65-inch screen size really fills out the fireplace feature. We were worried that the 70-inch screen size would extend past the feature, so we were happy when we mounted the 65-inch, and it wasn't too small like our last 55-inch. This one fit perfectly. With the shelving and cabinet, it frames and accentuates the TV quite nice. We still have to figure out what to put on the shelves. Right now we just have some fake plants and figurines on there, but I would like to decorate it more with some cohesive pieces. Turning on the fireplace adds a warm element to an already relaxing environment. Now just kick back and relax.
Well, that's pretty much it, guys. With the new additions and everything we added,
it really contributed to the relaxing environment we strive for, and we find ourselves spending a lot more time here. We eventually want to finish our furniture set and add some accent chairs and maybe another couch. That way when we entertain, every guest can have a place to relax. But for the time being, we are happy with the new space. If you guys like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Hit that bell notification for updates. We out.